Hey guys, I have an afternoon editorial for you. I figured since we're closed and nobody's coming in our office right now, I go relaxed. How about that? But it starts, guys. So it starts. I'm going to post some links in the description box below. One is to this story right here. One is to the actual video conference when they issued the arrest warrant on the pastor that I'm going to talk about right now. The YouTube video link is in the description box. Also, there's an article by Forbes magazine in the description box below that talks about the constitutionality of this stay-home order or the stay-home thing and not being able to publicly assemble or publicly worship, free speech. It's down there. When I say free speech, I'm talking about being able to go out in groups and protest or what have you. Can't do it. You have to do 6 feet apart, less than 10 people, all this stuff. And then it has to be during the daytime, right? Because if it's at night, per the Fontana PD and some other law enforcement agencies, you could be arrested unless you're going to get gas or going to get food. Or as Governor Newsom said, he said you're allowed to go out and get exercise. Now, if you work all day and maybe you're up late in the night, as some people have odd hours. Go out exercising at night, I guess. I don't know how that's going to work. But it's starting, guys. So Forbes magazine, there's an article, the link is below in the description box, that talks about the constitutionality of all of this. But I'm going to go through this real quick, and it starts, our civil rights are slowly being eradicated. I didn't really read the whole Forbes article. I skimmed it a little bit with my eyes, but they did talk a little bit about the powers of taking away our First Amendment constitutional right and our 14th Amendment right. Whether the power lies with the president or whether it's solely enforceable by Congress. Okay, I don't know if I worded that correctly, but does the president have the power to do this, or does he have to what's the word I'm looking for? Does he have to go to Congress and say, Congress, can we do this? So anyway, I know I'm not wording that right. I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. But the link to that Forbes article is down in the description box below. Before I even get to it, here's the video clip real quick, a snippet of that arrest warrant.
Last night I made a decision to seek an arrest warrant for the pastor of a local church who intentionally and repeatedly chose to disregard the orders set in place by our president, our governor, the CDC, and the Hillsborough County Emergency Policy Group. His reckless disregard for human life put hundreds of people in his congregation at risk and thousands of residents who may interact with them this week in danger.
All right, so let's get to the story. Thank you, New York Times, for this story. The pastor of a megachurch in Tampa, Florida, was arrested on Monday on charges of holding prayer services in violation of public health orders temporarily banning such gatherings to limit the spread of coronavirus infections, authorities said. Rodney Howard Brown, co-founder of The River at Tampa Bay Church, is accused of presiding over 2 services on Sunday attended by hundreds of parishioners. Some of them ferried there by bus transportation his church provided, Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Cronister said. Sheriff Chad Cronister said, quote, his reckless disregard for human life put hundreds of people in the congregation at risk and thousands of residents who may interact with him this week in danger. Now, Howard Brown, originally from South Africa, was arrested at his home under a warrant charging him with misdemeanor offenses of unlawful assembly and violation of public health emergency rules, the sheriff's office has said later. The emergency health orders limit public gatherings in the county, to fewer than 10 people and require residents to stay at home except as otherwise necessary. The Tampa Bay Times reported the preacher posted a $500 bond and was released from jail shortly after he was booked on the charges, each carrying a maximum penalty of 60 days in jail and a $500 fine if he were convicted. Sheriff Chad Cronister said in his office his office had contacted the church's attorneys and its leaders at least twice over the weekend, imploring them to cancel Sunday services at the Pentecostal church to no avail. The sheriff said Howard Brown's defiance was especially baffling because his 4,000-member congregation had the technology to broadcast its services live on both television and the internet. Howard Brown quoted biblical scripture in his own defense during Sunday morning's 3.5-hour service, live streamed on social media, titled "God Heals." He declared, "No plague shall come nigh thy dwelling, no weapon formed against them," according to the Tampa Bay Times. That's right, no weapon against them shall prosper. Going on, "Suddenly we are demonized because we believe God heals, that the Lord sets people free, and they make us out to be some sort of kooks," the newspaper quoted him as telling worshipers. Members of the congregation, many standing shoulder to shoulder, although some apparently separated in church by empty seats, cheered and applauded his remarks, the Times said. Chad Chronister disputed Howard Brown's assertions that the public health orders in question exempted religious services as essential gatherings, or that they trampled constitutional rights to freedom of religion. It's unfortunate that the pastor here is hiding behind the First Amendment. I'm going to get back to that. State Attorney Andrew Warren also cited scripture in supporting the sheriff. "There's no more important commandment than to love thy neighbor as thyself." He said, "Loving your neighbors is protecting them, not jeopardizing their health by exposing them to this deadly virus." Nearly 5,500 people have tested positive in Florida for COVID-19, the highly infectious respiratory disease caused by the novel coronavirus, including more than 60 who have died. This story was reported to the New York Times by Steve Gorman in Los Angeles, edited by Bill Tarrant and Peter Cooney. Now, the reason I laughed when I read the quote by Andrew Warren is he said, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." And it's just they're pulling these Bible quotes out now, like, love your neighbor. Do you want to make your neighbor sick? Do you want to kill your neighbor of coronavirus? I don't know. It struck me as, it tickled me. Like, I don't know, man. And it's not that I'm against the Bible. I'm not. I read the Bible. I grew up in church. It's just the way that they're using taking these scriptures now and just making them mean something, anything. Just let's, that fits, come on, shut up. But, the sheriff said something interesting here when I said, I'm going to get back to that. He said, it's unfortunate the pastor is hiding behind the First Amendment. And I don't know that he's hiding behind it. Maybe he's just living by it. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And that could be read many different ways. I mean, we know that Patrick Henry and them were under tyranny at the time. And it was, give me liberty or give me death. I'm going to fight for it. Does that include the coronavirus? I want to know what you guys think. I mean, look. I'm going to have liberty as an American. I'm going to live as a First Amendment exercising American, or I'm going to die. And if I go out and get the coronavirus, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to die. But I'm not going to let people take away my First Amendment constitutional right under the guise of public health. I mean, that could fit, right? We're using Bible quotes. Let's use Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. I'm going to live as a free American or I'm going to die. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think everybody should just shut up, go in the house, close the door, shut the window shades, lock the door, double lock it, and stay healthy? Or do you think, you know what, just wash your hands for 30 seconds under hot soapy water. Make sure to brush your teeth, brush your tongue, so, get those taste buds. Make sure to take a shower daily. No social contact, social distancing. Don't touch things other people have touched. Wear gloves, wear a mask, PPE, all of that. Is that what we should do, right? That we can go out and enjoy life, or should we just stay as shut-ins? So I want to know what you guys think. And I was talking about the washing hands and the mask and the gloves to go out. to get out of the house and go do things like normal, just be healthy about it? Or should we just say, you know what, I'm just going to stay locked up? I want to know what you guys think. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers from coast to coast. And on this one, a sheriff's department backed by the government in Florida is charging a pastor for holding church services. And again, it could be unconstitutional, or maybe they have suspended our constitutional rights under the guise of public health. Forbes magazine article does talk about that in the link below. Thank you guys for watching. Happy Thursday. I got more editorials coming this week. Thanks, guys, for those of you who are emailing me. Man, they're just sending them, and I'm doing them. Thanks, guys.